What's up, everybody? So I know this is a different type of video than I normally do on my channel, but the reason why I want to cover this is because it is so very, very important. And let me tell you why. Many of you watching this video, you would consider yourself a Swiftie. If you don't know what that is somebody who follows and supports Taylor Swift. And even if you are not, you probably know somebody who is, and you might be a parent and your children are watching her videos, they're downloading their content, streaming it on Spotify, and you might even have allowed them to go to one of her concerts and whatnot. And so I want to make sure that you're aware of the type of music that she is promoting and the messages that she is attempting to use to influence your children. Now, let me just go on record and say that first and foremost, I am not a anti-secular Christian, right? I'm not secular music. I'm not one of these people that say, okay, Christians cannot listen to secular music, but I am somebody that believes that we should not be engaging in, supporting in, and listening to anti-Christian secular music, of which I believe this new album by Taylor Swift fits into that category. Now, the second thing that I want to say before we jump into this album is that I am not like against Taylor Swift as a person. From what I can gather, she seems to be a nice young lady. She seems to be sweet and whatnot. Okay, cool. So this is not an indictment against her specifically, but rather some of the music that she has put out lately, specifically some of the music that is on her most recent album, although I know she's been promoting a lot of the stuff in some of her past albums as well. So with all that out of the way, let's jump in. And the first thing that you're going to notice, guys, whenever you check out her new album, Tortured Poets Society or whatever it's called, is that about 11 of the songs that are on this album are already labeled as explicit, right? So right away, you need to know that if your daughter or your kids are listening to this music, that it's explicit. It's got lyrics in there, as we're going to see, that are very explicit in nature, and you need to be aware of that, all right? So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to analyze several songs off of her latest album. I'm going to look at some of the lyrics, so that you can see and know exactly what your kids are being exposed to. Okay, so let's jump into the first song on this album. It's called Fortnite. Now, if you don't know what a fortnight is, it's not the game, all right? It is a 2-week span of time. So essentially in this song, as you're gonna see, she is talking about a 2-week affair that she had with a married man that has left her confused, has left her depressed. She's turned to alcohol and things like that. And so let's just jump into it, okay? So she writes in the song, "I touched you for only a fortnight. I touched you, but I touched you." So already you see that she's using some very sensual, sexual language. And as parents, I want you to ask yourself, do you want this type of music to be influencing your children, specifically your daughters and your sons as well? All right, so she's already talking about sensual type of lyrics, but she continues and she highlights that she was a functioning alcoholic. She says, "I was a functioning alcoholic till nobody noticed my new aesthetic." And so apparently this affair that she had with a married man, which we're going to see in just a moment, was so devastating whenever it ended emotionally for her that it sent her to a place where she turned to alcohol in order to try to get over or try to appease her feelings of depression or whatnot. So she says all of this to say, I hope you're okay, right? In other words, hey, it's over now. You know, you've gone on with your life. I've gone on, but I think about you and I hope you're okay. But you're the reason. See, you're the reason why I had to turn into alcohol. I'm a functioning alcoholic. You're the reason, right? And there's no one to blame here. But what about your quiet treason? So something happened whenever they were seeing each other. Maybe he went back to his wife. Maybe he had another partner. I don't know. She doesn't go into detail, but apparently she blames him. Okay. So she turns to drinking, and then the song goes on and says this. "And for a fortnight, there we were, forever running." So in other words, hey, for 2 weeks, we had it going on. I mean, we were enjoying one another. We were physically involved. We had an affair for 2 weeks, for a fortnight. There we were. And it seemed at the moment like it was forever, like we were running together forever, till you sometimes ask about the weather, right? So In other words, like she's coming back down from reality now because, as you're going to see, they're neighbors, right? As you see right here on the screen, they're neighbors. So she had an affair with a married man who was a neighbor. And because they can't have the affair anymore, basically they turned to just being kind of cordial, but they both kind of knew what they were doing or knew what they had done for that 2-week fortnight, right? And so now it's just casual. Like they ask each other about the weather, things like that, because the affair is over. So she says, now you're in my backyard, turned into good neighbors. And so this is all devastating her because at one point she was in love. They had this 2-week affair and now they're just good neighbors. Now notice what she says next. Your wife waters flowers. I want to kill her. Wow. Okay, so now it gets even deeper, right? So now she resents this man's wife because she sees this man's wife watering flowers and she's so overcome with jealousy because she's had this affair with this man that she is overcome with emotions of wanting to physically assault. I'll use that word, all right? This guy's wife. All right. Now this gives us a little bit more information. So they were neighbors now. So now we know that they had an affair and neighbors. And in public, they ask each other about the weather, kind of keep it kind of cordial and things like that. And as a result, for all these reasons, she hates this man's wife. All right. And she can't get over this affair. So she writes this, and I love you. It's ruining my life. I love you. It's ruining my life. I touched you for only a fortnight. I touched you, but I touched you. So she can't get over this affair. She doesn't want to let it go. She's in love with this man because, hey, for 2 weeks, for a fortnight, she touched this married man. And then she says this, and for a fortnight, there we were together running. She said that earlier, till you sometimes come and tug my sweater. I've seen another that says comment on my sweater. Maybe the lyrics couldn't figure it out what specifically said. Either way, what's happening now is that even though they're not physically involved anymore, there's some flirting going on, even though they're apparently both married, which we're going to see in a moment that she says that she's married as well. So she says, hey, we were together until sometimes you come and tug at my sweater. So like, you tug at my sweater or you comment about my sweater. And so the kind of the bantering and the flirting back and forth kind of goes on because they're neighbors. How do we know? Because it says here, now you're at the mailbox, turned into good neighbors. So now they see each other at the mailbox and whatnot. My husband is cheating and I want to kill him, right? So there's all sorts of stuff going on. Maybe that's why she got into the affair. They're both married. They're still flirting with one another. The affair has ended, and now they're just have to be neighbors and whatnot. Her husband's cheating. She wants to assault him or whatever. And then she says this, I call you, but you won't pick up. Well, dude, maybe he's trying to work on his marriage, right? Like the affair is over. Why are you trying to call? Why are you coming out with a song that little girls are listening to, encouraging or telling a story about a married woman wanting to call another married man and upset that he ain't picking up your call, right? Something is wrong with that. And then she entices the married man and she says this, move to Florida, buy the car you want, but it won't start up till you touch me. Wow. So now you're enticing this man to go against his marriage and be with you. Okay, that's just the first song. So parents, I just want you to think about this. And all you Swifties out there, I want you to think about this. Is this the type of music that you think that a Christian should be listening to? Is this a type of music that a Christian parent should be allowing their kids to listen to? Is this the type of concerts that you want your kids, your Christian kids, to be listening to and attending? All right. That's just the first song. We got several more. All right. The second song is a song called But Daddy, I Love Him. All right. Now, in this song, she's basically talking about being in love with a boy, and she's so in love with him that she basically doesn't even care what her dad says, because her dad does not like the fact that she's in love with this guy, but she doesn't care because she's so in love, so much so that she's willing to completely and totally defy the desires and the commands of her and the wishes of her parents, specifically her dad. So this song is encouraging young ladies to follow love no matter who says, no matter what, no matter whether people who are in authority over you don't agree with it, forget them. They don't understand you, because daddy, after all, I love him. So this is encouraging resisting authority. Okay. So All right. So she also doesn't care about what other people in the church or her religious upbringing say about this relationship with this guy either, because she's so in love. Let's dig in. She says, I just learned that these people only raise you to cage you. So these people seem to be her Christian parents or other people in her Christian community or whatever. And they only raise you so they could keep you locked up, keep you caged. In other words, their desire is for you not to be free to express yourself and to follow your heart. No, they want to keep you locked up. They want to keep you caged up. That's the reason why they raise you. That's what she's saying. And then she goes in Sarah's and Hannah's in their Sunday best. So she's taking a strike. She's taking a jab at the Christian subculture, right? It's talking about how judgmental some people are in church, calling them Sarah's and Hannah's in their Sunday best. In other words, they look real good, clutching their pearls, and then sign, what a mess. In other words, she's talking about the hypocritical nature of women in church. So like, they're dressed up really well. They're clutching their pearls, so they look really nice. But then they're also judging her and looking at her saying, oh, what a mess. What a mess that little Taylor Swift is. What a mess that little girl is. And she says, I just learned that these people try and save you because they hate you. So now she's interpreting the fact that there's people in her life that might be telling her that this relationship isn't good, that she needs to get out of this relationship. But she interprets that as them trying to cage her, trying to hold her in, and ultimately because they hate her. They don't want her to be happy, right? Okay, here we go. All right, so she keeps on and she goes on and says, now I'm running with my dress unbuttoned. Okay, wow. Now what is she saying here? Seems to be implying that now she's willing to be promiscuous or whatnot because she's running with her dress unbuttoned. That seems to suggest something is going on, screaming, but daddy, I love him. I'm having his baby. Wow. So now, ladies, parents, is this talking about she's encouraging having a child by a man who she's not married to? So apparently she's dating, she's in her father's home, her father doesn't approve, and she says, I don't care. Not only am I going to keep staying, not only am I going to keep being with him, but I'm also going to have his baby as well. No, I'm not, but you should see your faces. So apparently she's kidding. She's like, nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to have his baby, but you should see your faces, right? I'm telling him to floor it through the fences. No, I'm not coming to my senses. I know he's crazy, but he's the one I want. So he's crazy. People are trying to tell you that he's crazy, but hey, he's the one that you want, right? Okay, so she's basically in full defiance of her parents with her dress unbuttoned, screaming, but daddy, I love him. She acknowledges that he's crazy. Okay, she continues. I'll tell you something right now. I'd rather burn my whole life down than listen to one more second of all this griping and moaning. So she's like, I'm so in love that I would rather just, destroy myself? I mean, I don't want to use the S word, right? But I would rather die and destroy my entire life than to sit here and listen to all this griping and moaning from people who don't want me to be happy. I'll tell you something about my good name. It's mine alone to disgrace. In other words, get out of my business, get out of my face. If I want to have a bad name, that's my call. It's mine to disgrace. I don't cater to all these vipers dressed in empath's clothing. God save the most judgmental creeps. So now she's saying, you need to save them. I'm cool. I'm fine with how I live my life. You need to save those judgmental church folks, right? Who say they want the best from me. My mom, my dad, the church folks, the Sarahs and Hannahs and whatnot. Sanctimoniously performing soliloquies I'll never see. Thinking it can change the beat of my heart when he touches me, right? So they're giving her advice, right? They're giving her advice and whatnot, and she doesn't want to hear it, and because they think that their advice can change her heart. But she says, hey, it can't, because when he touches me, and it says they think it can counteract the chemistry and undo the destiny. So the chemistry, the feeling is what she's talking about with this boy, and the destiny, we're supposed to be together. You ain't got to pray for me and my wild boy and all this wild joy. If all you want is gray from me, in other words, nothing really hot, just kind of just go through life kind of gray without any really black or white, just gray, then it's just white noise. What's white noise? You ain't listening. I ain't hearing you. I'm not seeing you. It's just noise. I'm not hearing what you're saying. I'm not hearing the word you're saying. And it's just my choice. Now, parents, before we go on to the third song, once again, is this the type of message that you want your young women and young men, for that matter, to be listening to and supporting this idea? And we wonder why maybe some of our young ladies, some young men are so defiant. They're listening to this type of music that is encouraging them to follow their heart, even if mommy and daddy tell them it's not a good idea. All right. Now, there's this third song called Guilty as Sin. Now, this is another song that's a straight up hot mess. All right. This song is literally talking about having intense sensual fantasies for someone and being so haunted by lustful fantasies that it feels like you're overcome with lust and desire for someone, even if you've never acted on these feelings, right? So she's talking about, I'm so overcome with these lustful thoughts and feeling these dreams that I'm having with this person, but I've never actually quite acted on it, all right? So this is some very sensual stuff. Do you want your kids to be listening to this? All right, here we go. She says, I'm seeing visions. Am I bad or mad or wise? So she's admitting that whatever she's getting ready to explain is a vision, it's a dream, it hasn't happened. But she's like, am I bad for this? Should I feel wrong? Should I feel bad for lusting and having these visions and dreams of being with somebody? Okay, here we go. All right. What if he's written mine on my upper thigh? Whoa. Whoa. Okay. So we know where the upper thigh is. We know that general area, right? And so she's having a dream about a boy writing mine, his name, writing mine, like this part of your body is mine in the upper thigh. Maybe she got a tattoo of his name on there, whatever. But she's having a dream about this, only in my mind. Okay, so, okay, all right, here we go. I keep recalling things we never did. So she's admitting like, okay, this is a dream. We've never done it. Messy top lip kiss. Wow, come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Come on, parents. Christian parents, is this okay? How I long for our trysts, all right? So a tryst is like a secret illicit meeting between two people, right? It's like a secret little rendezvous, getting away, kind of secret. Nobody needs to know. She says, I long for those without ever touching his skin. How can I be guilty as sin? She's like, how can I be guilty? Because nothing ever really happened. I'm just imagining all this, and my dreams are so filled with all these lustful fantasies, all right? Finally, she says, these fatal fantasies giving way to labored breath. Okay, now come on now. Now we know sometimes, I'm trying to be careful here. In lovemaking, labored breath, right? Pants, like panting, right? Sounds, heavy breathing, stuff like that. She's imagining and envisioning all of this, right? Her fantasies giving way to labored breath. So is she doing something by herself here? And while she's fantasizing and experiencing labored breath? I don't know. Taking all of me. Come on. Come on, y'all. This stuff is anti-Christian. We've already done it in my head. If it's make-believe, why does it feel like a vow we'll both uphold somehow? So in other words, if it's so fake, then why does it seem like it's bound to happen? It's going to happen, right? Because it feels like it's a vow that we're both going to somehow at some point uphold. So in other words, at some point, this is going to go from just a fantasy to actually us carrying it out. Okay, so that's another song. Here's another song. I think I have a couple more. I don't remember. Florida. Oh, boy. Okay, this one is really bad. Really bad, all right? Now, this song talks about going to Florida and essentially abandoning all responsibility and escaping from all life's realities and pressure and just living it up, partying, smoking, having a great time, and using Florida basically as like a drug. Florida is like a drug that you can use to escape life's realities and just go and party and live it up and have fun, because while you're in Florida, you don't need to worry about what's going on in life, because just enjoy your life and you can deal with the reality later. Okay, let's take a look. And my friends all smell like weed or little babies. And this city reeks of driving myself crazy. All right, so her and her friends are there. They smell like weed, or maybe she's got some other friends. They have kids. And so they smell like babies, maybe because they have children. I don't know exactly what she means here, but if that's the case, and she's got some friends that are, single, that are single moms, and they're all out in Florida partying together. All right. So here we go. And either way, they need to get away and party. Florida is one hell of a drug. Florida, can I use you up? Can I use you up, Florida? Man, Florida, can I go to Florida and just use you up like a drug so I can get away? All right. Pretty obvious here. So I did my best to lay to rest all of the bodies that have ever been on my body. So, wow. Okay. So she's saying, I'm going to Florida and I'm going to try to detox my brain and my emotions so that I can get over and lay to rest all of the men, the bodies who have been on top of my body. Right? Wow. How many of those are there? Right? Or is this a message about chastity and abstinence and saving yourself from marriage? No, that's why I said this is anti-Christian. And in my mind, they sink into the swamp, these men that have been with her. Is that a bad thing to say in a song? Okay. All right. So all kinds of stuff going on in that song. You could check that out. Whew. Okay. Song number 5 I want to take a look at is I Can Fix Him. I Can Fix Him. So here she's talking about some guy that she's in a relationship with. And she's like, hey, you know what? I know he's messed up. I know he's jacked up, but I can fix him. All right. She says the smoke cloud billows out his mouth. So he's smoking. She admits the dude smokes cigarettes, smokes weed. I don't know. Right. But she says smoke is coming out of his mouth like a freight train through a small town. It's a lot of smoke. The jokes that he told across the bar were revolting and far too loud. So he's telling a lot of bad jokes and stuff that probably shouldn't be said. They shake their heads saying, God help her. God help her. God help her, right? When I tell them he's my man. So once again, this is going back to the idea, I don't care what people say. I'm resisting any sort of feedback or criticism because he's my man, right? And people are trying to tell her, don't be with him. And she says, I don't care. But your good Lord doesn't need to lift a finger. In other words, your good Lord, not my good Lord, your good Lord, who is he talking about? The people that are shaking their heads saying, oh, God help her, the Christian, the religious folk. She's taking a jab at the Christian community. You need to know that. And she says, your God doesn't need to lift a finger to try to help him because I can do it. I can fix him. I can save him. No, really, I can. And only I can. All right. All right. So guys, I know there was a lot there, but really the point of this video was to hopefully expose you not just to Taylor Swift, but as parents specifically, we need to pay closer attention to not just, the artists that our children listen to, but the actual songs, the actual lyrics. Because as a parent, you might think, oh, my daughter got the new Taylor Swift album. That's cool. Or, hey, my daughter just got this album or whatever. Or, hey, all of her friends are going to the Taylor Swift concert. And so after all, maybe, it seems fun. And Taylor Swift's kind of like the little cute girl next door. How can bow back and she be? Guys, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what type of anti-Christian message that people like Taylor Swift and lots of other secular artists that our kids are listening to, and some of you might be listening to, are promoting. And the only thing that I'm going to say is, as a Christian, the Bible says that we are to not have anything to do with the deeds of darkness, but to expose them, And so once again, are we going to be those types of Christians that basically just go along with the world because that's what the world is doing? Or are we going to be the type of Christian that stands up and stands out and calls out the evil that's going on in our culture? And I wanted to be a part of that by calling out what I believe is an anti-Christian album. All right. So let me know your thoughts down below. And let me know your thoughts about Taylor Swift and this recent album that she came up with. All right. All right. I'll see y'all in the next video. Let me know if you want me to do more videos like this. Peace.